Well, India has approved funds for a census and a population survey to be held next year, despite weeks of protests over that controversial citizenship law. Authorities say the updated National Population Register will be a comprehensive database of every, well, quote, usual resident of the country. But critics say it's more likely to be a list from which people will be asked to prove that they are Indian. Well, for more insight into this, we're speaking to Professor Nandita Saikia, an expert in population studies in New Delhi. Professor, so the NPR aims to track the so-called usual residents of India. Help us understand, what does that mean?
Hi, thank you for inviting me to your talk. So by usual resident of India, according to National Population Register system, anyone who is staying in India for more than 6 months, or in case of any new person who is coming to India but intends to stay more than 6 months, should be an usual resident for National Population Register data.
So what does the new criteria mean for foreigners in India and the non-resident Indians then?
Well, ideally, it should not have. It should not affect. There is no as such new criteria for being a resident. If government, if government plan to execute this NPR data at local level, at village, or at municipality level, everyone has to go and register themselves if they want to stay for longer than 6 months.
Okay.
Let me tell you, actually.
Professor, continue.
Let me tell you, National Population Register system ideally should be the best data, best system, because it is a process through which population of a country can be enumerated or registered continuously, and this data helps us a lot to know a lot about subgroup disparities and so on in case of India. Yes.
But then how are they going to be expected to prove that, they are Indians? There was a process that happened for the census that was conducted in Assam as well, and that was actually quite chaotic.
Well, this is entirely different from what has happened in Assam. In Assam, there was an update of National Register of Citizenship, in which every person who was living in Assam should give some document to show themselves, to link themselves with the family members who lived in Assam before 1971. And for that, they need some documents which was there before 1971. Whereas in case of National Population Register, there is no such as giving some document, and it will be entirely based on the report as per the respondent. And this kind of system is very much prevalent in the most welfare countries like Denmark, Netherlands, Sweden, or Austria, and so on. Thank you.
But Professor, we have this citizenship bill that is also hanging in the bag. Do you think it's going to likely perhaps maybe fuel the ongoing protests?
Yes, it may be expected, because there has been a lot of misinformation about this citizenship bill, National Register system, National Register of Citizenship, as well as NPR. People are just misinformed about all this system greatly. In fact, to tell you the truth, National Population Register system is not a new thing. It was started in 2010, and according to some bill passed, and then it was executed for the first time in 2011, and later on it updated in 2015. And now, since India is going for another decennial census in 2021, so they want to update a National Population Register system data as well. So basically, linking these two is not meaningful, although National Population Register system may likely, if it is executed properly and if it is a continuous system, and together with 100% registration of birth and death system, it may be possible to, find out the people who come to India illegally. So it is a long-term process, which is a bit long-term data driving process, which is existed in many countries of the world, and it has to be seen separately. And of course, I agree with you. People are a bit confused, and perhaps the message that should go from the government officials is not enough, and there has been a lot of propaganda about it.
Indeed, there has to be more education on this. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. Professor Nandita Saikia, Assistant Professor of Population Studies in New Delhi.